I was 17 during my senior year of high school. My last class of the day was photography, and our dark room was in an old section of the school's basement. Hardly anyone ever went down there, except for the photography students. It smelled like chemicals and wet concrete, and the dim red lighting always made it feel like a horror movie set. That day, we had an assignment to develop photos from the weekend. I stayed behind after class because I wanted to finish early and avoid doing homework at home. By the time I was done, the hallways upstairs were empty. My footsteps echoed down the dark basement corridor as I carried my photo strips to the drying rack. That's when I heard it. Metal clanging from somewhere in the basement. It was faint, but it definitely wasn't part of the building's normal creaks and groans. I froze. I thought maybe it was the janitor, but then I remembered our janitor always left before the last bell. I told myself I was being paranoid and went back to hanging my photo strips. Then, clear as day, I heard slow footsteps in the hallway. My stomach dropped. The dark room door had a tiny window with a black curtain over it so I couldn't see into the hall. The footsteps stopped right outside the door. I stood completely still. My heart was pounding so hard, I was afraid whoever was outside could hear it. The doorknob rattled, just a little, like someone was testing it. Then a soft knock. I wanted to scream, but I didn't move. After a few seconds of silence, the footsteps started again, this time moving away down the hall. I let out a shaky breath and told myself I was imagining things. I decided to pack up and leave before I freaked myself out more. The dark room had a side door that led into the old boiler room hallway, which had a staircase up to the first floor. I flicked off the red light and pushed open the door. That's when I saw him. A man was standing at the far end of the hallway, partially in the shadows. His clothes were ragged and filthy, and his hair was matted. He was holding something long in one hand. It might have been a pipe. He didn't move. I bolted up the stairs 2 at a time. My sneakers squeaked on the old tile, echoing through the empty school. Behind me, I heard fast footsteps pounding up the hall. He was chasing me. When I reached the first floor, the lights were off, and the front doors were locked, since school was long over. I ran toward the gym, thinking I could hide, but as I turned the corner, I saw him at the other end of the hall again. It was like he knew where I was going. Panicking, I sprinted to the nurse's office, which had a phone. I slammed the door, locked it, and crouched behind the desk as I dialed 911. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the receiver. I whispered that someone was in the school and trying to get me. The dispatcher told me to stay on the line and stay hidden. As she was speaking, the doorknob to the nurse's office rattled. Then, a heavy bang against the door made me flinch. He knew I was inside. The dispatcher kept talking, telling me police were on the way. The banging stopped, and for a few seconds there was silence. Then I heard slow footsteps moving away down the hall. Minutes felt like hours, but finally I saw flashing lights through the office window. Police flooded the building. They found me shaking behind the desk. They searched every inch of the school but didn't find the man. One officer said there were muddy footprints in the basement and on the first floor, leading to an old side door with a broken lock. The next day, the school replaced the lock and installed cameras in the basement hallways. They never caught the guy. I still wonder if he was homeless, or if he had been watching the school, waiting for someone like me to be alone. To this day, I can't be in an empty school building without thinking about the sound of those footsteps creeping up behind me.